Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and I hope you are just having such an amazing day. I hope that you remember why you went into dentistry. I hope if yesterday was a bad day, today's a better day. And I hope the Dental Team podcast truly boosts your spirits, lightens your mood, and gives you tactical tips that are going to be able to make your life incredible. Because at Dental Team, we're obsessed about making your life happy. So today I wanted to get on of a choose your own adventure. This is kind of fun. I think it's fun to just kind of like dabble in where can our practice go? What are some ideas? What are some things to think about? And we do this with our clients, and I just got jazzed about this one today. It was a really fun one that I chatted about with another office, and I thought, I think our Dental Team family needs to have this. So if you are new to our Dental Team podcast, welcome. I'm Kiera Dent. Dent really is my last name. I just make the joke. That's not really a joke. It's my real life. I had to just get 3 fiancés to get this last name. I didn't marry any of them. I just married the last one. And I love dentistry. I love helping practices. Our team loves helping offices. We truly are experts at what we do of helping doctors and teams come together to have the best practice, the best opportunities. We fly to your practice or we do it virtually. Both are super and incredible. We also have a in-person doctor community that we go to as well, which is really magical. And really our goal is to make sure that you are living your best life, that you are profitable, and that your team is thriving. And so really, and we're the experts that do this. We have been team members ourselves. Every one of our consultants have been team members. They've grown multiple practices to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. So we are experts at doing this, and we love to just share resources to help you and your team be absolutely the most incredible that you possibly can be. So with that today, I wanted to just dabble on a choose your own adventure, giving you a short tactical choose your own adventure. So there's a practice. So this is kind of an office autopsy, if you will. There's a practice, and they started out kind of small. So they had a few ops, and don't worry, for all of you listening, I do smash a few practices together, so you'll never know which practice I'm talking about. And I do that intentionally to keep practice confidentiality. So with that, this practice, they started out kind of small. They had 4 operatories, and they were in that practice for about 5 years. The doctor was taking on about 1,800 patients solo. That's a lot of patients. And they were just booked out. They worked 4 days a week, and they knew they wanted to expand. So they expanded to 10 operatories. And within about 2 months of expanding, this is not an exaggeration, they had basically outgrown their space. So they had another associate that they hired. They brought on more hygienists. So they had 4 hygienists. And they had an opportunity to add another associate and also another hygienist. And it kind of was coming to a crossroad of, what do we do? And so I want to just place this for you in practices. And I'm going to bring a bunch of choose your own adventure, because I think a lot of times thinking outside the box really becomes something we don't do. We feel like we're living in a day in and day out. And so this practice made me think of like, let me bring to the table some options that I've seen with other practices for you to not compare, but to create a, what do I want my practice to look like? What do I want my life to look like? So step 1 is that I'm really, really pro whenever we work with an office is we've got to know what you want to do. And I usually like to do it in 2 to 5 year stints, thinking about your kids, thinking about your age, thinking of who you are, where are you going to be in the next 2 to 5 years? So when we look at that, but then I also want to take it and expand you out to 10 years. Reason being is because decisions you make now actually might impact where you want to be in 10 years. So for example, with that, if you were choosing your own adventure, let's say in the next 2 to 5 years, you're like, gosh, I really want to scale back. I want to be home with my kiddos. I want to do some different things. That's really what I'm looking for in the next 2 to 5 years. Well, then kiddos get older, they're in school, or maybe your kids are graduating and you're like, gosh, in like 10 years, I actually want to be building a bigger practice. With that, if we scale down now in the next 2 to 5 years, your 10-year plan is actually going to really be a problem, because now you're going to have to build it back up because you scaled it back down. So maybe there's a way that we could get you to scale down now without killing your patient base that's going to help you within the next decade of your life. So that's where I really love this choose your own adventure. And I get so giddy about this, and I love helping doctors dream, and I love building out dream boards with our doctors to help them see, all right, where do we want to be in 2 to 5 years? But then where do we really want to be in the next decade of our life and or the legacy of our practice? Because for some want to grow these massive practices. For others, they want to just have a solo practice. Something I'm really like, this is where I'm going to get on a rant and a soapbox. I get really frustrated with offices that are just growing for the sake of growing. They're looking on social media. I feel like social media is such a blessing and a curse because we compare. And we're like, gosh, like, what am I doing over here? I'm just schmucking over here and I'm not really building a practice. And oh my gosh, I only have 4 ops and they have like 17 ops. And what am I doing over here? And gosh, that one just grew and this one has like 12 practices. And like, I'm just sitting over here in 4 ops. And I really get annoyed by that because there's no reason to grow unless that's ultimately going to serve your life. And I really want to hone that in today of, is your practice serving your life or are you serving your practice? Because you can have whatever life you want to live. Some people who have 12 practices are like very miserable. Yeah, they look great on paper, but their life is miserable. And I think about that ballerina picture. If you haven't seen it, go do a quick search where a ballerina is on point. So that means they're standing on their tippy toes and they're in a beautiful ballet slipper. And the picture says like everybody wants to be a ballerina on point until they see the work that has to happen. And the other foot is like this bloody, ripped up, like the toes are gnarly. And you think about like, you can't see that behind the beautiful ballet slipper of this gnarly foot that's been like beat and thrashed and like just chewed up and spit out on the other side. And I think about that often about these offices, like we don't see what their life is like. We don't see the problems that they're having. And I'm also not here to say that growing is bad either. I'm not here to say that if you're like 12 offices, you're like, gosh, like my life's terrible and I wish I was a 4-op practice. I'm tired of the comparison. I'm tired of people just feeling like whatever they're doing is not good enough. And I think that comes from comparison left and right. And so when we look at this choose your own adventure, I also think it's choose our own adventure, but let's also choose the life we want to live. Choose the life that's going to make us freaking passionate. Choose the life that's just going to inspire us and do all the things that are going to be great for us. And then be able to just flourish from there as well. So when we say that, with this practice, the choice is, where do I want to be in 2 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? And where do I want to be in the next decade? And then there's options that we can do. So for example, with a practice, 4 ops, they have a choice. We can expand. We can maybe go next door. We can maybe find an op within our practice. But what is the reason why? For this office, what they were doing is they had so many patients, tons of patients. They couldn't see them all. And so they wanted to expand. So they knocked out the wall. They made it a 10-op practice. They were only going to do 8. And I said, nope, always go for more ops. You will never be sad about adding more ops in. This doctor was so grateful that they added more ops in. It gives more choices, more opportunities, especially when you're growing that way. So now it's a matter of, all right, what do we want to do from here? Do we want to keep growing? So that would mean we might expand out, bring on other people. Could we expand our hours so that way we're not having to expand our days? Could we bring on more providers? What are some of the choices that we could do? And I think getting really creative in the space that you've got. So it's not always having to expand out, but could we add an operatory? Could we expand hours? Could we add another provider? Could we, if a doctor wants to pull back and only work 2 days for right now, but we don't want to drop our patient base, can they work 2 days and then maybe come in and do hygiene checks on another day to fill a doctor's schedule? I don't know what are the solutions, what are the things that we could do, are the things that I really love for you to look at. So when we look at that, then the next thing we're going to ask ourselves is, this is why it's important to look at your 2-year and your 5-year and your 10-year. Then from there, it's okay, we could keep doing that. We could scale back. Or if we have too many patients, maybe we consider dropping a few insurance plans. But be careful, because if I drop those insurance plans and in a decade, I want to grow my practice back up, well, it kind of is like cutting my arm off and then I need to use my arm in the future. So what are some solutions that we could do now? Maybe with something where we say, this is where we want to be. This is what I want my life to look like for the next 20 years. Awesome. Then we know we can scale back. We can start to be more fee for service. I have a practice and there are 6 ops and they're like, here, we're going out of network. And I was like, are you sure? And they're like, we don't freaking care. They have their new patients wait for 3 months. But guess what? They're busy and they know that they don't want to expand any bigger. They want 6 ops. They want to work 4 days a week and they want to be home with their kids for the next like 2 decades of their life. They are so crystal clear that now they're making decisions that impact their life rather than dictate their life. And so that's really where it's choose your own adventure. Do you want to maybe scale back and only work a couple days a week? Do you want to be working 5 days a week? Do you want to have you and one provider? Do you want to have you and then 2 other providers so you can scale back and maybe do some other things? Do you want to build a bigger building? I know I've got some practices that are like 17 ops. Gosh, I've got one that I think is pulling in a 50 op practice. That's insanity to me. I'm like, you're going to have to be like a hospital with a parking garage. Like, that's not even a joke. It's like a 50 bed hospital, but it's a 50 op practice. Those things sound so dreamy, but again, that's fun. And if that's your vision, but this doctor's been practicing for about 20 years who's building a 50 op location. But but looking to see what do we want to do. Also, I like if you're in this practice and we're kind of bursting at the seams, there's a practice that I've got where we expanded them out, similar to the one I was alluding to at the beginning. They expanded out. They now have, I think, 15 operatories. And they're like, we need more space. So they looked around, there's some real estate. And they're like, we're going to build a surgery and a sleep center across the street. We're going to keep this as our general. So are there other building locations, and do we want to do more surgery or more sleep? Or I have a practice that does a tongue and lip tie in their location. Do we want to add a dental assisting school? So that way, instead of it just being dentistry, we're also doing dental assisting. So our building is being double utilized, and we're able to have another revenue stream in there. Do we want to bring in other specialties under one roof? These are the conversations that get me so lit up, because I feel like there's so many choose your own adventures, but it's really choose your life. So if we choose our life first, then these adventures can really make something exciting for us and make something really fun for us that you can then determine what you want to do, how you want to do it. But I think it's really important of 2 years, 5 years, and then 10 years. That way these mash up. And so you might have opportunities right now. And just because you have opportunities does not mean you need to take them. But I'm also very cautious of, let's make sure we're not turning down opportunities too early, or because we don't feel like we can get creative enough to think outside the box. And that's something I think as consultants, our job is really paramount to help offices do, is to really 100% help you think down the line, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, what's going to come your way? What do we need to do today to prepare you for the future? And I think that's something just really fun in consulting of, where is your practice? Where is your life? What do you want to do? And getting into this creative space. And so for you, I'm curious. And if you want to email me, you want to pop on a call with me, I love to choose your own adventure with offices. Like, let's talk about the possibilities. Let's talk about what you're capable of doing. Let's talk about what options are available to you. Let's dream. Let's think like, hey, we're max at space. I love when people give me their problems. So, hey, if you've got a big problem, like I had an office and like, Kiera, we cannot see any more patients. I found space for them to add a whole other hygiene operatory in their practice. You might not like it. Like I had a doctor and I found a whole other operatory, and she's like, Kiera, but I don't want to like be that cramped. And I said, all right, then that's your choice, because there is space for you to add another operatory. So I don't want to hear you can't. I want to hear that you're choosing right now, because that's not your priority. So when we have that, that's what I love. Give me your juicy problems. I love to hear them. I love to figure out how we can think outside the box. I love to think of what things have we not thought of. Like there's a practice and you're like, I can't get new patients in. I was like, all right, let's look. Could we add maybe a couple hygienists starting an hour earlier, so when doctor comes in, they can catch all those hygiene exams, and we can actually add quite a few more hygiene patients? Could we maybe run an afternoon of assisted hygiene? Could we maybe expand our hours? Could we bring on another provider? Like, what are the tools in our toolbox? What are the crayons in our coloring box that we could actually start to use to look at our practice in a different lens? And that's honestly, I think, something beautiful about consulting is I don't live in your house. I don't get to be there, just like you don't live in my house. And if you were to look at my house, you'd be like, Kiera, you could move your dishes over here, you could put your silverware here, and it would actually work a lot better. That's the beauty of not working in your practice with you, is we're able to see outside of it and to help you choose your own adventure. So I'm just curious, if you were this practice, what would you do? Would you expand? You're maxed out. You've already expanded out past your 10 operatories. Would you expand? Would you drop insurance and stay where you're at? And so you're working less but making more. Would you scale back your hours? Would you build a bigger building? Would you build a surgery center and just keep GP there? Would you expand your hours and maximize your space? Would you add in a dental assisting school? Would you bring on another provider? So you've got 3 providers now, so that way you have more flexibility. What would be your dream? I'd love to hear from you. Email me, hello@thedentalateam.com. I think it's fun because what's crazy about this is there's no wrong answer to this. I think there can be wrong timing, but I don't think there's a wrong answer. And so really looking at what your life is, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, choose your own adventure. I'm here to help you in any way we can. If this resonates with you, if you're like, gosh, I just need someone who's outside my practice looking in, I'd love to help you. Reach out, hello@thedentalateam.com. I'd love to hear what you would choose. And I want you to remember that everything within your practice, you get to choose. You get to choose your life. You get to choose your practice. You get to choose your team. You get to choose. And how blessed are we that we get to have these opportunities? How blessed are we that we get to have these problems? How blessed are we that we get to choose our own opportunities and our own adventures of what we want to do? And what we make with our life is our opportunity. And so I just challenge you and encourage you and implore you to make sure that you're living your life on purpose, that you are living the dream life that you want. And as always, I just adore you. And I hope you remember that. And I hope you know you're doing better than you think you are. And as always, thanks for listening. And I'll catch you next time on the Dental 18 podcast.